Find your mouthpiece and put on your jock straps. It's the Sports Blitz with Doug and Robbie.
Okay, how long is your show?
You guys have such a great setup.
Listen, if you're under a rock or if you're in a cave, come on out and listen to our episode.
It was fun talking baseball. I love talking Red Sox. I love talking coaching.
I don't care because I would rather there not be an MLB season than have to sit and watch the colossal embarrassment.
Hey, hello, I am Bloom. Yeah, it's Doug and Robbie from the Sports Blitz. I just wanted to find out whether you need some pitching.
There you go. In 5, 4, 3.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Blitz channel. It's episode number 86. We haven't been here for a couple weeks. I'm Doug. We have Robbie here. Robbie, how you doing tonight?
Doing well, Doug. Doing well. Sorry, folks, that we took a couple week hiatus there. You know, life kind of got in the way a little bit, schedules and stuff like that. But we're back. Sports Blitz is back, and things are looking good. You know, if you're under that rock or in that cave, you know, it might be okay to come out and maybe go out to a restaurant here and there. Maybe go get your vaccine. You know, go do what you got to do. I mean, you can go right back in if you want. You know, I'm not, you know, whatever floats your boat. But no, very excited to be back, and excited, a lot to talk about on this latest episode, Doug. So ready to get into it.
Absolutely. And by the way, just want to tell you, everybody on the Sports Blitz is totally vaccinated. So I would suggest go and get vaccinated because it feels really good going into a store. And
we just don't want to be around. We just don't want to be around each other because we don't actually really like each other. So that's why we're continuing to do it.
We don't.
Yeah, we don't actually. We can't actually stand each other. You folks don't.
We don't at all. This is the kind of separation that Robbie and I need.
Yeah.
So because there'll be some grappling. There'll be some grappling going on.
No,
grappling if we're in person. Hey, listen, we might. Hey, Robbie, we got some great stuff that's coming up down the road, really, Robbie. Yeah. But we may, and I'm just going to throw a little bit of pitch out there. A teeny bit of pitch, and this may be new to Robbie too, because we didn't even discuss this in pregame, but in pre-show production. But I will tell you that there is a possibility that Robbie and I may do some episodes together live somewhere. Yeah. Somewhere, maybe
satellite, maybe on we might be on the planet, you know, it's all good.
Possibility down the road, but we do want to, of course, acknowledge our sponsor, which is Zyman Organizing.
Yeah.
Zyman Organizing, just remember, after the episode, or if you click on us, you'll see the link below. So please click on that link and check it out. You need anything organized, Zyman Organizing is the way to go. I'm going to tell you right now.
Absolutely.
And it's starting to be, everything's opening up. So it's starting to be where people are able to come in and help you out with your organizing needs. If you have them, you have a drawer, you have a closet, you name it, it's all good. So thank you very much to Zyman Organizing for sponsoring our show. So we're going to kick it off right away, Robbie. And I know we haven't talked in a couple weeks, and it's been a couple weeks pretty much since at least the first couple of segments that we have. We are basically going to talk about a little playoff basketball, a little playoff hockey. We're going to jump right in.
Emphasis on a little.
Emphasis on very little, because we have some other stuff that we really want to talk about. But it's been a couple weeks, and I've been over it for a little while, so didn't really want to talk about it too much. Just because it is incredibly depressing. Actually, I just want to tell you a little update. I did talk to the Bruins guru, who is actually in hiding right now. She has decided that she does. I asked her if she wanted to come on tonight. She is in complete depression over the Bruins right now. So we're working on getting her back and getting her some just some good vibes coming out. I think she might be in a cave, but I'm not sure. Under
a rock.
No, I think she's definitely not under a rock. She's definitely could be in a cave, but I'm not sure. but she said that she looks too depressing to come on, so that really makes
Understood.
sense. So I just
Yeah.
want to give you an update on that. We're going to start off with one of those great teams that we have in Boston. One of those awesome teams that win all the time. They win a championship every year, and that is. Wait a minute, that's not right. Let me go back a little bit. Too
Run it
bad I
back.
can't erase half of what I just said. Let me go back. Let's just talk about our Boston Celtics, because I will tell you right up front, Robbie, and I'm just gonna kind of throw some questions out to you a little bit. I'm baffled and confused, and there's a reason why I am. So we're gonna start off with the playoffs. So let's start off with the playoffs first. What did you think about? Obviously, the Celtics did make it to the second round of playoffs, and they got their asses beat by the Brooklyn Nets. So which we kind of all predicted, including all the people that are in caves, predicted that. So Robbie, what did you think about those games and that series? And yeah,
They sucked.
yeah,
They sucked.
okay.
Plain
Yeah, I
and
was going to say
simple.
that too.
Now, basically, the only positive was the Game 3 performance and the fact that there were fans back in TD Garden for playoff basketball. Those are about the two silver linings, and what otherwise was just a gross, disgusting series performance by players,
Yes.
the coaches, the fans,
Yes.
just everybody. It was awful. It was awful. It was an awful series. We had a feeling it was going to be an awful series heading into it, and it lived up to the awfulness there. So I mean,
we absolutely knew that. We absolutely knew.
I mean, it was just a lot. It was 5 games or 4 games. Because I get it, Game 3, they did pull it out. But
I actually taped that game.
It was 4 games worth of just bad. Just 4 games worth of bad.
I actually taped that game. I started watching some of it last night because I never really I was listening to it more than I was watching because I was a little busy doing other stuff. So I didn't actually get a chance to watch it, but I know they won that game. And I just wanted to see a win. That's it. That's the only reason I tape it. The only reason I taped it at all. But I want to see. But if you look at them in the first quarter, they're horrible in the first quarter. My God, they in the first, not even 8 minutes, they're down 19-4.
I know.
But
I know.
what?
Yeah, even the start of that game was brutal, and then they finally woke up, pulled their heads out of their asses, and just actually learned how to play professional basketball for the other 3 quarters. So no,
Right.
You're right. You're right. It was like I said, it was bad. It was just
it was brutal.
That game, it was just bad. And I mean, I don't know what else to say. It was bad.
No, you know what, Robbie, and I know I'm kind of the what do you call basketball Celtic. But the fact is that I don't even have any explanation.
No.
I mean, I know Jaylen Brown was out. I get it. But the fact is that even if they had Jaylen Brown, they're not going to.
I don't think it would have made a difference. I really
not going to beat that team.
It would have made a difference.
Not with the team that's constituted. And we've talked. You guys got to look at some of our other episodes. We've got 85 other episodes, but the recent ones are the ones you probably want to look at because those are the ones who have who basically we talk about what we think the Celtics need. What their basic needs are, but it was just absolutely brutal. And I just don't have many words for it. I mean, I could critique them up and down, but we already have. We've already talked about how they have a lot of deadwood on the team. We've already talked about how Jason Tatum needs some help and there's nobody there to help.
Right.
We already talked about how the inconsistency of Marcus Smart didn't play that, terrible in the first series, but in the second series, where the hell was he?
How about the lack? How about just the lack again of a real big man or sort of a real down low presence there? Yes, I mean your Robert
Right,
Williams and Tristan Thompson. They have flashes, but Robert Williams could stay on the court.
right, because he keeps getting
Because
hurt.
of injury issues. I mean, Tristan Thompson is just nowhere near the level of KD and Irving and Harden and those guys. I mean,
Right.
it's not even comparable. Yeah, I mean, just all their. I mean, I think part of the reason why we're kind of not more pissed off about the Celtics losing because I think we had already kind of prepared and sort of planned their
Yeah,
demise even before that series even started.
we did. And
I think
actually, I believe we predicted that if they played the Nets in the second round, even when the first round was going on, we predicted that if they play the Nets, which happened, but if they play the Nets, they're not going to beat the Nets.
Yeah.
It's
I was
just what it
stunned,
is.
honestly, after the first two games, I was stunned they actually won a game. I thought after those first two games, I thought they were going to get swept.
Yeah, I thought they were
going to
too.
get swept. The fact that they went home and actually won a game in front of, again, the only sort of positive, which was like, the fact that, a crowd was able to be in TD Garden for the NBA playoffs once again, although, I could go on a whole rant about the behavior of certain members of said crowd, but I won't do that right now. But I just feel like I was just stunned that they actually got it to a game 5. But once they lost game 4, heading back to Brooklyn, I was like, there's no way. There's no way the series is over. And it sort of came to fruition. I did watch game 5 start to finish. I don't know why, but I did. But it's just kind of like I feel like I kind of already sort of just prepared myself for the fact that it was going to end that night to begin with. So it didn't really bother me as much as maybe the other team that we're going to talk about here coming up in just a few minutes. I think I was sort of more resolved to the fact that it just was not the Celtics year, plain and simple.
Yeah, it's not just that. I think there needs to be, and we'll talk about it in a minute or two. But some of your reactions to things that happened after the series was over. But I think it's one of those situations where you kind of knew what was going to happen. I actually wish they didn't make it to the first round because I knew that they were gonna get embarrassed. They were gonna get their ass kicked, and it's like I know they get a little extra money if they make it to the second round or whatever it is, but that doesn't matter to me. I'm sure it matters to them, but it doesn't matter to me. But it's one of those things where we've talked ad nauseum about the fact that this team is not a playoff, it's a playoff team maybe. But not even that. It's a team that's not constituted well. It's a team that needs to have, different kinds of players to be able to support the other players. So in my eyes, you take Jason Tatum, you put him aside, and then everybody else, as far as I'm concerned, is tradable. As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I think the big issues that they have, some of them might be to the coach. I don't know. Some of them might be obviously Danny not, getting Fournier. And are we going to keep him? I mean, are we going to keep him? Are we going to be able to keep him? We know some things. We know a little bit about what's going on. With the salary cap and that kind of thing, because, and I will bring this up to you, I wanted your reaction on this, something that's not on here. And I thought about it last night. I was like, oh man. And then today when I was putting this together, I was like, oh, I forgot it. Is Jason Tatum not making it to the all NBA team, which gives him a guaranteed salary of $33 million more. Did not make it. And you know what? I'm really confused about that because got more points than Kyrie did. So I don't understand what
Yeah,
I don't understand what happened.
I did see something about that, and that did surprise me. I would have thought he would have been sort of a shoo-in for that.
It was a forward guard situation. That's all. But
Yeah,
I'm like, wait a minute. But he
I-
got enough points, got 69 points to be able to get in, and I don't understand why he didn't do that. He was like one of the best players in the NBA this season. So
yeah, I mean,
don't understand
he
why.
only went off for
And an
60
all-star.
points. 60.
He
He
was
went
an
off for
all-star.
60. He only went off for 60 points against San Antonio and for 50 plus. A couple of other.
But he was also an
times.
all-star. Doesn't that doesn't guarantee you to be on the all NBA team? It
Probably
just
not,
doesn't make it.
probably
It was a guard forward thing that was going on.
I don't
He
know.
got points for being a guard, and he got points for being a forward. So I guess he got more points for being a guard because he was predominantly a guard this year as opposed to a forward, but he's actually listed as a guard/forward. They got to change that system because that system is just absolutely stupid. Anyway, I just wanted to get your reaction to that, whether he got snubbed, because I think he got snubbed.
Yeah. Oh, I 100% agree. I mean, yeah, I think he did as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're one of the top 5, top 10 players in the NBA this year.
Yeah, if he's not all NBA, who is? I mean,
Yeah, I don't understand, especially if you got more points than other guys. I just don't understand that. But Robbie, there's a positive that comes out of this. And the positive is that we get to fool around a little bit more. We get 33, 32, 33 more, $33 million more to kind of play with a little. So if we needed to re-sign, and I don't know if Jaylen Brown's contract's coming up, we can start, thinking about, now next year he's going to make all NBA, but we don't have to worry about that right now. I hope he's going to make all NBA. If he doesn't make it all NBA next year, there's something going on. But this gives us an opportunity to maybe keep some people that we need to keep instead of necessarily getting
maybe
rid of
go out and get some other people to really help.
we definitely need to do that. A couple of names.
21, 22. Yep.
Yeah, a couple of names I would just want to throw out there for you, Robbie. Just a few names.
Yeah.
That I want to throw out to you. A few names that I've kind of seen out there that are kind of, I've seen them on Bleacher Report as reporting as the Celtics are interested in. One of them is Damian Lillard.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
They need to have a point guard, and I'm going to tell you, I saw a report that says Kemba is gone. Kemba was not happy with the fact that he was going to be traded. They tried to trade him off in January because of his injury. He didn't like that too much. So they should keep him for a while because they'd get actually a better deal down the road if they needed to get it down the road, but don't get rid of him right this very second. That's the first thing. Damian Lillard would be awesome here. Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
The other is Towns, the center from Minnesota.
Yeah,
Karl Anthony Towns from Minnesota. Yep. That's another guy. We need a true center. Again, and he can hit threes. So as far as I'm concerned, he can hit it from anywhere. So as far as I'm concerned, that's definitely good. So those two. Oh, Kyle Anderson, also from the Grizzlies, who's actually did much better. His 3-point shooting is in the 40s this past year and has done really, really well. So those are the three that I've kind of heard, but we'll see what happens down the road. Now, the other thing we just need to touch upon really quickly is there was a little bit of a shakeup here at the old Celtics. The old Celtics garden there.
Trader Danny's now Trader Brad.
Yeah, it's Trader Brad Stevens is now the general manager of the Boston Celtics. And Trader Danny is
retired Danny.
Retired Danny right now, but he might go back and do some stuff with the Phoenix Suns or something like that. I know, or Utah Jazz. I heard Utah is where his home is, so it's very possible he might do some stuff there, or he might just retire. I don't know. this shocked me slightly because Brad has never been a GM before. What did you think about this, Robbie, when you heard that?
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Was it a WTF moment?
Yeah, I all of a sudden just wake up, literally the morning after they get eliminated, and all of a sudden, like mid-morning, it's like, wait, what? Wait, Danny retired. Wait, Brad's now the head of basketball operations. Like, wait, huh? Who? What happened? Where? Where am I? Yeah.
Wait a minute. Have I been under a rock?
Yeah. Like, what is happening here? No, like I said, I was more surprised. Let me put it this way. I was more surprised at Brad's promotion, so to speak. I don't know if you want to call it a promotion, than I was of Danny stepping away. Because I thought if anybody was going to be gone this off season, it was going to be Danny. I did not honestly think that Brad would be leaving this off season, would be no longer the coach of the Celtics after this season. So I think that was the most surprising thing to me is, first of all, Danny leaving definitely surprised me a bit, but then to hear on top of that, oh wait, Brad's now moving to that position. That means he's no longer going to be coaching the team. That was where I was just like, that was the WTF moment for me. It was like, no more Brad Stevens as coach. Now we're looking for a new head coach. Like WTF. Like, I think those are the exact words out of my mouth. Like what the hell just happened here? So yeah, very surprised, very, very intrigued also. I mean, like you said, Brad Stevens does not have the front office sort of experience. This is sort of his first time really in a front office position. He's always been a coach. There's been a lot of speculation as to, how long this will truly last with him in this position, or if he will be sort of lured back to coaching at some point down the road by another organization or even another school potentially. And now obviously there's the questions of who's going to be the next head coach for the Celtics. So I'm sure we might we'll touch on a little bit here, but it was definitely surprising, like I said.
Yes, it was. And I actually had that moment too. I actually had my wife look at my phone to make sure that I wasn't dreaming or going out.
Wasn't seeing things, yeah. Wasn't having a
because I was like, what? Wait. So, and I was thinking about this too, and it kind of makes a little bit of sense. I mean, Brad doesn't have. Well, first of all, he said it was the bubble that just killed him. He just couldn't. He was just burning out, and I get that. I think, and this is just my opinion, is that it's easier to find a head coach than it is to find a really good GM.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm
hoping that Danny took him under his wing and said, "Look, this is how I do stuff. This is how I've been doing it for the last umpteen years.
Right.
And this is what you should do, and this is what you should not do, and blah, blah, blah." I mean, teaching him along the way since Brad has been here. I didn't know that. Well, we now know why he didn't take the Indiana Hoosiers job, because he's getting GM with Celtics.
Yeah.
So that makes total sense.
That explains that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that definitely explains that. But the issue I have is that maybe he has a GM mind. Maybe he doesn't. He's got a pretty good coaching mind, but maybe he's got a better GM mind. And that's numbers and trying to figure out, who would be the best for the team and that kind of thing. I'm just hoping that he doesn't look at the dead wood that he has and just keeps it, unless he absolutely has to, because that would drive me crazy. So the issue is well, we're going to see that this is it. This is who's he going to bring in, and will he be able to bring people in, depending on what head coach. Now, I don't know if you know the breaking news as of today. I don't know if you know any breaking news of today. Today, about 2 hours before we came on, another head coach in the NBA has decided.
Rick Carlisle. Yep,
Yeah, Rick Carlisle of the
that.
Mavericks, who, by the way, has ties to the Celtics.
Sure.
And another brought the I believe the Mavericks won. They won in 2011, the championship, I think. Yeah. So he brought them. He was the coach during that time. I guess he wasn't really getting along with Doncic that well, and there was some stuff that was going on. Although, everybody said, he's good. He'll stay. It's fine. We'll work it out. Whatever.
Well, that didn't happen.
And he just said after 13 years, he said, okay, I'm done. So he's another one that's out there. The other ones that are out there that I've heard, Chauncey Billups, Jason Kidd, Sam played on our 86 team. Oh,
Not Sam Cassell.
yeah, Sam Cassell. Yep. Sam Cassell's an assistant. So Sam Cassell, I can't remember what team he's on, but Sam Cassell.
Yep.
And now Rick Carlisle. There's
Yeah.
a couple of assistants that are also out there, including several assistants, several women assistants too,
Yeah.
which I think is great.
Becky
I don't have a problem.
Hammond. Becky Hammond's a name that's been thrown out for a lot of these.
Yeah, and there
openings.
was I can't remember her name, but was it Becky Hammond that was with us? It was somebody that
No, that was Kara Lawson.
Kara Lawson, yep.
She was with us, and then she went to Duke. Yeah.
She's also a possibility too. I think she likes where she is, but she's, it's definitely a consideration. I'm going to reserve judgment until after I see who he picks for head coach.
Yeah, same here. I don't really have any
He's got to
speculation to give on who the head coach is going to be. I'm just curious to see who he ultimately chooses.
He's got to pick somebody that's going to draw players into Boston.
Oh yeah.
My thought process, and I'm just going to throw this out to you. This is just my opinion. Now that Rick Carlisle is in the mix, I think Rick Carlisle, not first, these aren't in any order. I'm just listing them. Rick Carlisle, Sam Cassell, Chauncey Billups is another one. Those three would be my choice. Either one of those three would be a fantastic choice as far as I'm concerned. Everybody goes, oh, Sam Cassell, what has he done? Okay, well, he's won like 2 or 3 championships. He knows basketball really well. So what do you mean? What do you mean? I don't know why. He's and players love him. So I don't understand why. Chauncey Billups, also same thing. Chauncey Billups actually played here for a little while. We got rid of him, but played here. So he's got some ties to Boston too. So we'll see what happens. And Rick Carlisle will be like the pinnacle for me would be Rick. I mean, that would be freaking fantastic. I think it's probably going to happen? Probably not, but he's got some ties to Milwaukee, but I don't know. I don't know. But those three would be good picks for me.
It's going to be very interesting to see.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Brad picks. I mean, it really will be. It'll be. Yeah. It's a big.
I'm not even going to make any decisions. I'm not going to say anything about what has happened, except for the fact that I'm stunned and shocked. But I want to see who he picks for head coach, and who he picks for head coach is going to determine the next thing he's going to do. Yeah, it's going to domino through what players he tries to bring in. Who does he try to bring in to get this team back to where it's supposed to?
Yeah.
So those are definitely my thoughts. So we're going to go to the other winner team, and I'm more devastated about this, and I want to talk about this really briefly. Our next segment is going to be on the Bruins, and just talk about the Bruins playoff run and kind of how they
I'm
did.
so,
I'm just
Doug, I'm so depressed about that. I'm literally leaning myself out of the shot.
I noticed you slowly starting to lean yourself right out of the shot, like I don't want to talk about this. Yeah, I don't. I'm just. I don't. I obviously I don't really know what to say.
Are there any words for it? I mean, the
There aren't any words.
started off so promising, and then all of a sudden just went just like boom. I just feel like
Yes, it's like we were walking real free, and all of a sudden there's a hole that we didn't see.
yeah,
We fall right into the hole.
flat on our face. Like, yeah. And I think here's my honest opinion. I'm kind of tying in two segments into one here. My honest opinion is that I don't think the Rask injury, while I think it has definitely given me some doubts as to certain decisions that were made in terms of starting Rask in certain games, I do not believe that Rask's injury and him playing through injury was a major factor in the way that series turned. I think what was a major factor is the fact that our defense, especially in the final two games, forgot how to play hockey. And I understand we had injuries. I understand, Carlo was out and Miller and, all those guys and all that stuff. If you can't perform the simple task, you might as well hold that Robbie Rant time sign because I sort of feel it building up here a little bit. Yeah, Robbie, yeah, exactly. You can't see that. Nobody can see it.
I know. I'm bringing it up as you start ranting. You haven't ranted.
Oh, sorry. If you cannot perform the simple task of clearing a puck out of your zone, of passing a puck out of your zone with consistency and with crispness and just all the other skills that it takes to perform said task, you don't deserve to win a hockey game. The defense looked like garbage in games 5 and in game 6 especially.
Oh yes.
It was bad. They could not get out of their own way. They were literally running around. I know they're on skates, but they literally looked like they were running around in their own zone. And the Islanders, give them credit. They forechecked well. They were aggressive. They were physical. And they took advantage of the defensive ineptitude of the Boston Bruins late in that series and just buried them and did not let up at all. They basically dug the hole, threw them in, and then put 5 mounds of dirt on top of them. Like, it was that brutal a defensive performance. It was that brutal of a defensive performance. And it has nothing to do with Rask and Rask's injury. Yes, Rask was injured. Yes, it was more of an injury than we even knew during that series. I agreed with Cassidy starting Rask for game 6 until I knew that he was playing with a torn labrum that is now going to require surgery. Is going to keep him out until next January. Then I started to have some doubts, as we could get into here in a coming segment. But I said this to you, Doug, and I said this to other people. Rask starting game 6, even if he had not started game 6 and Swayman had started, it would not have made a difference because the Bruins defensively could not get out of their own way and could not get out of their own end. And the Islanders took advantage of it, and that's why the Islanders won the series. Period. End of story.
Well, if that wasn't a Robbie rant, I don't know what was, and it certainly was. I hope you saw me put up.
I said I wasn't going to rant tonight, but you know what? I'm not disagreeing
with anything you said. I do believe that a lot of it was based on the defense. I know Carlo was out. There was no way he was coming back for those couple of games. Miller can't keep his ass on the ice. And he played well this season. He really did. He was back and he played well and he was looking forward to it, and then he got hurt again. But it's one of those situations where it's very tough that way. But you're right, it is the defense. I agreed that you play your best players, and the defense it didn't matter what player he put in on defense. The only player that I could think of that actually did do their job, but can't do it alone was McAvoy.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The only player. Everybody else was terrible.
McAvoy got banged up a little bit.
Yeah,
but no, he played. By the way, the New York Islanders can no longer ever use that New York State. I know they were kind of using it to mock Bruce Cassidy, but Bruce Cassidy was absolutely right when he said that the New York Islanders were no New York States or whatever he said. Some of those, again, I don't want to get too far off topic here because I'm just gonna make me even angry or send me into rare mode part 2. But there was one
part 2.
There was one particular play, just the absolute cheap shots that were leveled by the New York Islanders. There was one in particular that I'm thinking of, and Doug, I think you and I texted about this, like what it happened. I forget what game it was. I'm pretty sure it was game 6. Game 6, literally after a whistle, 5 seconds after a whistle, guy throws a freaking elbow to the head of McAvoy. McAvoy has to go off, and they don't call a penalty. Are you kidding me? Like what? Like really, refs? This is what we're gonna do? That was brutal. That was absolutely brutal, and has no place in professional hockey. Again, that being said, yeah, just Matt, you're right about McAvoy. He was the lone bright spot. By the way, was an abysmal defensive performance, especially the 2 most important games, which were Game 5 and Game 6.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I actually agree. And I watched every minute of every single game. I actually agree with that. You should have heard us here. The only thing we weren't doing is throwing rocks and sticks and slippers at the TV. But we were like, what? Why is this not being called? What is going on here?
Yeah.
And I don't have any. I don't have any problem with Cassidy going on and saying what he said. And actually, he actually said it in the nicest way possible. He wasn't Tortorella who goes on and says, those effing guys, they effing suck and they're terrible. Because you criticize the refs, no matter whether you do it nicely or not, you're still going to get fined.
Sometimes they deserve to be criticized.
Yes, and he actually did it in the nicest way possible.
He's like, yeah, he literally says, like, these guys are good guys, they're good refs, but they can do better.
That's unfortunately that is criticizing the refs. No matter who are doing it in a nice way or not. And yeah, I mean, he knew he was going to get fined, but it was something he had to say, and I agree with it. I totally agree with it. I think he's absolutely 100% correct. And I don't know whether they just missed it, which is crap. Whether it was reviewable, because they could certainly go back and look at a play. So I don't have any idea. I just know that there were times that the refs were just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it was not just on our side, on both sides, but especially on our side. I think I really do. I really do think that. And I don't know whether there's some huge conspiracy about making sure Boston teams don't make it to the finals or into the playoffs too deep or something like that, because we've had so much success in the last 20 years. I don't know. Who knows? And maybe I'm just being paranoid, which is probably true. But what it comes down to is that their D just was terrible. Their D was terrible. Rask wasn't really, some of the games we saw during the regular season or even during the playoffs, the first round of the playoffs, Rask wasn't even close. So, but again, I understand playing with injuries. I mean, 2011, when we won the Stanley Cup championship, you know how many injuries that Patrice Bergeron had, including a collapsed lung?
Oh yeah.
By the way, you can't breathe if you have a collapsed lung. So, and you can't just go and play with that thing. But he did. So it's one of those things and he had all kinds of things going on. So I understand guys are hurt. I understand that. I get that. And everybody's hurt at that time. Even Rask said it in one of his things. He said, I'm not 100%. Get it? That means you just got to step up your game. But how do you step it up if the guys are just like, oh, here's the puck there, Mr. Islander. Here's the puck. Here you go. And I'm just gonna get out of your way so we could shoot, so you could shoot and score. I mean, what kind of crap is that?
I
It
know.
was just
I
it was just horrible.
know.
It was just horrible. The
It
team was horrible.
It was.
And that's all really I could say. Now,
No.
was that now I'm gonna ask you a question right out. Was that Rask's last game that we saw? And the Boston
I
Bruins?
don't know. I honestly don't know, because I think the surgery sort of really puts a lot of questions as to the future of Tuukka Rask, because he's not going to be coming back till January at the earliest, is what they're saying. I think if you're the Bruins, I don't think you're in any mad rush. I know he's a free agent. I don't think you're in any mad rush to re-sign him, because guess what? You're not even going to have him for a month or two at least, at the minimum, next season. Nobody is. So I don't think there could be any mad rush to sign the guy. You have sort of the next guy waiting in the wings with Sway, but you actually have the next guy and the next backup waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
So
It's
I could
definitely
very well, I could very well see them, either, sort of just letting Rask go in free agency or whatever the case may be, and say, screw it, or even sort of holding back, seeing, especially if nobody else sort of steps up to sign him, with his sort of impending surgery and recovery from that. I could see them sort of waiting it out into next season and seeing how Swayman performs, out of the gate. And then, if worse comes to worse, saying, let's maybe see if we can bring Tuukka back for what would probably be a lot less money than otherwise. So
I think they're gonna, I mean, my personal opinion is I think they're gonna wait and see how the surgery goes, and then they're gonna make a decision. I think that personally, at this point, just my opinion, and I like yours because yours kind of has like a double, we can still bring him back because we still have him, blah blah. I think that maybe at this point, and I think some of the fans may agree with me, being a huge Boston Bruins fan, and we'll get the Bruins brew after she comes out of the depression tank. We'll get her opinion sometime down the road. My opinion is that I think you got to see how the surgery goes, and you see how he feels mentally, and then after you have a conversation, then I think you got to make a decision. Either cut bait or grab him for another year, or I don't even know if his contract is up or whatever. I don't know. He's going to be a free agent. So yeah.
he's
So
gonna be
I mean,
free agent.
so I would.
So you don't have to do. I mean, technically, you don't have to do.
No, you don't have to do anything.
No, you have to do anything.
No, you don't.
That's what I'm saying. Is
Absolutely.
you have the option.
And I think they'll probably do that.
Wait it out. You have
Yeah.
the option. Because who's gonna be chopping out the bit to sign this guy when you have no idea what's gonna happen with the surgery and stuff like that? So it's not like they're gonna
Nobody.
be fending off other teams to try
Nobody's
to resign.
gonna be doing
Unless there's something I don't know, unless somebody knows something that I don't know. But I don't think the market's gonna be too high for Mr. Tuukka Rask right now. So I think the Bruins are gonna be in the position where they can afford to wait it out and see what happens into the start of next season.
I totally agree with that, though. I really do. But on the flip side of it, I think you gotta, after the surgery's done, you gotta check out his mental health. You gotta check out his physical health and see if he can go. And if he can go, then maybe you decide to do that. If you have any inkling that he's just not there, then
because again, you have the next chapter ready
Yes.
and written,
Yes.
ready and
Yes.
written, waiting in the wings. You
yes,
really
that's
do.
the best part of this whole thing.
And
Is
the
that you're
backup.
covered
And
either
the next
yes, and the
backup,
backup.
too.
Yep.
With
So you're covered either way.
Walker or Vladar, one of those guys.
Yeah. And by the way, I think that Jack Eichel from the Sabres, he wants out. I think we should get him. He's from Boston.
BU kid, BU kid.
Yeah, he went to school here. Bring him back home. It's time. He's an older player. He has been injured. He hasn't, I think he's played pretty well, but he's like the only good player there. I watched this YouTuber. Her name is Melody, and I watch her. So hopefully she's watching this too. And I'll tell you, Melody, I know you have the I know you have the first pick up there, but it ain't gonna make much difference for another few years. So your Buffalo Sabres are not gonna be as good as you think they are. And I would love to have Taylor Hall and Jack Eichel on the same.
And by
freaking team.
the way, I have to say, because you made me think of this talking about demoralized professional hockey fan bases. Can we just throw one up to the Toronto Maple Leafs again, choke it away, another first round playoff series, which I know it was against the Canadians, but something just brings me real pleasure just seeing the Maple Leafs again, who have not won a first round series since I believe 06 or 05, something like that.
Yeah.
Just again choking away in the biggest way possible their first round series with the Canadians there. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was definitely worth hearing. But I do want to tell you, I want to give you an update after the first period. Tampa Bay is up
1-0 Tampa. Yeah.
That
1-0 Tampa.
Yeah, 1-0 Tampa over the New York Islanders.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that out there as a little update. But yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think too. So yeah, so we'll start.
Cover both our Bruins segments in one there. So I think
we'll start the morning process, and I'll try to get the Bruins guru out of the depression tank to come and talk to us when the Bruins start thinking about getting players and that kind of thing. We'll bring her back to try to do that. I think she's in a cryogenic state right now, so we're trying to make sure that I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, we're gonna move on.
I just love the thought process there, though. I love you trying to sort of go through where you were going with that.
She's, we may have to chisel her out later on, but I know she's super depressed now. So I figure she's in a deep freeze. Maybe it'll knock her, the shock to the system will just knock her back into a happy state. So we'll have to see about that. But anyway, we're going to go to a team that's actually playing right now. I would say playing fairly well, but we have a little bit of a controversy to talk about, and it's more about Major League Baseball than about the Red Sox.
Well, it definitely seems like it's it may be. Again, I don't know if this is a direct impact, but maybe having an impact right now, at least the last few games, excuse me, at least the last couple games on the play of a certain aspect of the Red Sox. So but overall, they've won 3 in a row. So can't complain.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you how do you think they're playing now as opposed to maybe a week or two ago, and what do you think the future looks? It seems to be heading in the right direction. Let's put it that way. But I wanted to ask your opinion on that.
There's been up and down, obviously. I think the thing that impresses me the most is the offensive production. I mean, they put up 10 runs last night and like 9 or 10 runs the night before against Atlanta in 2 high-scoring games. So I mean, offensively, they've been highly productive, top to bottom in the lineup. By the way, shout out Christian Arroyo, who had a big pitch hit grand slam last night.
Oh,
that was being the deciding factor.
That was
freaking awesome. Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, I
gives him a little bit of a boost too.
Yeah, big shout out to him. Yeah, but the pitching, and again, I know we're gonna sort of get into the pitching on a deeper level here. The pitching has been of a concern. You sort of go back to that Toronto series, just prior to the Atlanta sweep. I mean, they gave 18 runs in one of the games against Toronto. I mean, that's not exactly a stellar pitching performance. I mean, they've had their struggles pitching wise. The starting rotation and then certain aspects of the bullpen. There's no question about it. That being said, I think that there's still a lot of baseball left to be played. They're right in the thick of it. Again, I go back to the fact that at the beginning of the season, if you had told me the Red Sox would be in the position that they're currently in today on June 17th, one game out of first place in the East and on top of the wild card and all that, I would have taken that a heartbeat. I would have thought you might be partially crazy for predicting that, because I think that there's just a lot of questions about this team heading into the season. So I can't be too upset at certain flaws right now, because in terms of overall performance, they are vastly overperforming the expectations I had for them at this point coming into the season. So I think that they're playing well. There's a lot of room for improvement, don't get me wrong, and a lot of things going on that we will again get into here coming up. But I think the most impressive thing has been the offense, and pitching, leaves some to be desired. So I don't know, Doug, what are your thoughts on the current state of the Sox? I'm curious to hear your take on it.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward your positioning. It seems like the starting rotation seems to be a little bit better as of late, but it seems to me that they're very, very inconsistent. I also think the Red Sox as a team has been, fairly. They've been better as of late too, within the last, I would say, week or two, so to speak. They have won the last 3 in a row, but I just think my thought on that is that they. I think the whole league is going through something right now, and we already kind of know what that is, but and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. But it's one of those things where I think this is well, not typical of last season, obviously. They really were terrible last season. I think they're
we don't need to talk about last season.
No, I'm just saying they're 1,000 times better than last season anyway.
Oh yeah.
Even where they are right now, they're 1,000 times better. I just think that they just need to have more consistent pitching.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'll be interested to see. I was trying to look up the MLB trade deadline. I don't know exactly when that is.
It's usually July 31st.
Yeah.
It's the last day of July.
Yeah, I just didn't know exactly when it was, but it's around that area. But it should be interesting to see if there's anybody that we can kind of pick up. Although got Chris Sale, that's kind of supposedly on the right track,
and still out there. Let's see what happens.
On the right track. So starting pitcher, and I think they're. I think I have more positive than negative things to say about them right now. I mean, that's just how I feel. The games seem to be very exciting, except when they're totally not on. Like some of these third games in the series are like this watching paint.
That's what I was saying. The Sunday game last Sunday against the Blue Jays, they gave up 18 runs. It was like 18-4 or something.
That hurt.
Like, ugh.
Was there anybody the Red Sox playing on that day? Were they even on the field? Were they playing? Were they throwing underhand?
I think the Woo Sox actually came up to play that day. I think they
I think the Woo Sox did better that day than the Red Sox did.
Probably, yeah.
Just saying.
Right.
No, just saying. So yeah, so I just think that I think they're playing. I think they just need to get a little bit more consistent. They just get a little bit more consistent with their pitching too. That's something that's super important. But I mean, I think we should dominate the conversation here, more or less, about the new. Here it comes. The new rule in the Major League Baseball, which is that they have banned all substances from the pitchers using them,
Yeah.
except their little rosin bag, which I found out today from, I can't remember who was saying stuff. I don't remember who the pitcher was that was talking, but because I didn't catch the first part of the conversation. But he was saying that the rosin bag doesn't do anything at all. But yeah, this is something that is, I just want to know your opinion right away because I have some opinion on it too. But what's your opinion on this? Just not
Listen.
being able to use any of these substances, and the rule, if you do, you get it's like a 10-day suspension, and then you can't bring anybody up. So it's pitchers and catchers, both.
Yeah. Listen, this is hard because while I want to see the pitchers do well, I also have always been firmly anti, cheating or, doing things that can, have give you a real competitive advantage, so to speak.
Robbie, can I just interrupt you for a second? I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to ask you. The second part of that question is do you think it's cheating? Because again, Lou Merloni brought it up today and yesterday and probably the day before that. This has been going on for a very long time. It has been a rule, but the rule has not been put into play. In other words, people don't talk about that rule. They just don't mention it. They don't talk about it. So if they never talk about it, is it actually a rule? Yes, it's a rule in the rule book. But on the flip side of it, you go out and it's 90 degrees outside in Chicago, and you're outside, you're not in a dome, you're outside, you're going to want to put some suntan lotion on so you don't burn your ass when you're out in the mound or out in the field. You can't even do that now. So this is what I'm talking about. A couple questions there. This is tough. This is tough.
This is a really tough one because
it's not really a tough one for me that much, but I understand what you're saying.
I understand both sides of the argument, but I think I'm gonna have to go with my sort of heart and gut instinct here and say yes. I'm gonna say yes, it is cheating because it's like steroids. Yes, a lot of people do them. Yes, it's been around for years, but it's giving you a competitive advantage and a competitive advantage. And that to me, I don't like the sort of slippery slope that we go down if you allow it. And it concerns me. And I guess I personally, if I agree with what the MLB is doing. I understand where the pitchers are coming from, but the bottom line is this, is that, you should be able to figure out, how to pitch and grip a baseball without using a substance. I mean, there are plenty of, good high school, college pitchers out there who do not use substances when they pitch. And they throw the ball perfectly well, and with all that spin rate and stuff like that. This like I said, this is a hard one for me. I'm curious to see your opinion. This is a hard one for me, but my real true opinion is I do believe it is cheating, and I do believe that if they are caught doing it, that now that especially now that they've really tightened up, that I think they should pay the consequence. And I think honestly what it comes down to is, while I understand to a certain extent what the pitchers are saying, I also believe that it's giving the pitchers a competitive advantage. I think that they I think that there are ways that you could be a all-star caliber pitcher without using those kind of substances. Again, I think part of the problem is I'm not as I was never a pitcher, and I've never been sort of really, I'm not really versed in sort of all the technical ins and outs of being a pitcher, so it's hard for me to sort of form a fully sort of a full opinion on this because I don't come from that background, but at the same time, I just know that I cannot stand the idea of guys cheating. And to me, I consider this cheating. And if you cheat and are caught, I think you should be punished. And so, like I said, I'm curious to hear your take on it because I feel like I'm still kind of like formulating my opinion as I go because this is a very tough topic, like you said.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough topic, but I've been listening to a little bit of sports radio this week, and especially former Red Sox player Lou Merloni, who has a pretty good take on things. I liked him a lot because, I mean, he wasn't the greatest player in the whole world, but he knows baseball really, really
well.
Yeah. And I when I listen to somebody like Cedric Maxwell for the Celtics, I mean, even Jim Rice for the. I mean, you gotta listen to Rice. Rice knows what he's talking about, obviously. So these players that what I look at is their experience in the league, their thought on how they think the league should be and how it should not be. I don't know if you remember, but there was a pine tar incident a long time ago with George Brett. I don't know if you ever saw that. Yeah, pine tar incident where George Brett got a home run, and then they said the other team noticed that the pine tar, which had to be a certain length, it had to be the length of the plate. It was over that, and the umpire grabbed his bat and actually measured it on the home plate and noticed that it was way up on the bat and called him out. And George Brett went crazy.
He came charging out at the umpire.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't seen that video, George Brett pine tar, look it up on YouTube. It's actually a little funny, but you're talking about a player getting really super upset about that. And again, another rule that was there. And you know what? You would have gotten away with it unless somebody said something. Unless somebody said something about it, which they did. The other team noticed that the pine tar was way up in the bat, and that's why it was called out. It wouldn't have been called out. It would have been a home run if nobody said anything. So,
more recently, Michael. Speaking of pitchers, Michael Pineda, the Yankees, the stuff on his neck that the Red Sox noticed that got him thrown out of the game for. So
right. And guess what? If it's not noticed and it's not told, you don't know. Now, am I for cheating in sports? No. But what it comes down to is in my mind, thinking whether this is actually cheating or not. First of all, it's been happening for many, many, many years. Now, does that make it right? No, not what I'm saying. But on the flip side of it, a lot of things are analytical today when it comes to baseball. Baseball is super analytical. It's not like, Carl Yastrzemski going out to the plate and just hitting the ball and he's got 3,000 hits. Everything is analyzed. Everything is, we're talking about Moneyball. Everything is analyzed on computer. Hits, runs, home runs, catches. Everything is analyzed these days. And you could actually analyze a hitter's bat and stance and all that kind of stuff. Everything is done on computers. So everything is analyzed. So my thought process is something that Lou Merloni said. is that what's analyzed today is the rotation of the ball. A lot of pitchers, including our pitcher Richards, who the reason why that he was brought to the Red Sox was because he had this super spin on his curveball, which nobody could hit. So when I look at the rules versus what's been happening in baseball for a really long time, and it's kind of like one of those things where, you know, it's more of an acceptable rule, or it's one of those things where if it's not, if you don't catch somebody going to their cap or putting stuff on their neck, excuse me, and stuff like that, it's not, yeah, he's breaking the rule, but the guy who's coming in from the other team is also doing the same thing. My feeling is that there should be banned substances that should be banned. Absolutely. There is a substance out there right now that helps with grip. That should be banned. I can't remember what it was. Lou said it today, and I can't remember what Max something. I can't remember what it's called. But when you start banning rosin and suntan lotion, guys got to put suntan lotion so they're good. I got a burn. It's still not gone yet. This was over a week ago. These guys won't be able to pitch because it's going to hurt too damn much. So my feeling is that rosin and suntan lotion should not be banned, but the other substances should. And the other substances are like real sticky stuff. I mean, like real, like it's really, really sticky from what I have never seen it. Just like you, I've never pitched, so I don't know what that's like. But that kind of substance, I think, you know, I guess what it comes down to is that I guess what it comes down to is whether I consider it cheating or not. How many baseball games have people won? How many World Series have people won? How many baseball games have played since the game has started? And how many baseball games have people won or lost or won with people going to their hat, going to their, you know, just putting a little substance on? People sweat. Their hands sweat all the time. So I will tell you, Robbie, our pitcher Richards, what's his first name?
Garrett.
Garrett, thank you. I'm sorry, I just had a mind block for a second. Maybe I have cryogen stuff going.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope not. Because it's nice and warm outside. So I don't know. I understand how that can happen. Garrett Richards said in a press conference after he was at the game. I think he played yesterday. I think he was.
He pitched yesterday. Yeah, he
pitched yesterday. He says he's not confident in throwing his best pitch. He didn't throw it. He didn't throw a curveball all night. He's not confident. He's not confident that it's not going to go and hit a pitcher, hit a batter. What happens if it slips and hits somebody in the head? And you don't have any of that sticky stuff on. Now what are we talking about? So again, I think they have a rosin bag. So rosin, if anything, rosin should be used. They have a rosin bag, which basically Garrett Richards said last night, rosin bag doesn't do anything. It's kind of there. He said it could be there, could not be there. These guys went up into the ranks using this kind of material. Do I think that really sticky stuff should be allowed? No, because I think that's a competitive advantage. But what happens if you wipe your head? Just wiping the sweat off your head. Now what? Okay, now I'm gonna get caught because oh my god, I got sweat and sweat and oil on my hands. I mean,
Yeah.
suntan lotion on my hands.
Right.
What the hell?
I
Then you
know.
get a 10-day suspension. You can't bring anybody up. This is going to be a freaking nightmare. I'm going to tell you right now. This is just the start of a nightmare, and I think they should think suntan lotion is fine, and rosin is fine. They've been using rosin ever since Babe Ruth, so I don't understand. And there's a bag on the ground, so I don't think that's the other stuff. There are several other kinds of stuff that people use. Ointment. They use. There was there was a joke. Sorry to say this, but I got to say it. If you watch Major League, pitcher says to another pitcher, "What is that stuff in your chest?" "Oh yeah, this is ointment here, and this is this stuff over here, and this is Vagisil." I mean, they just use the stuff. It's been used for such a long time. I understand the cheating aspect, and I understand that cheating is obviously not a good thing, and I totally get it.
Yeah.
But if somebody puts pine tar on the bat, is that cheating? Pine tar on the bat is for what? It's like for a baseball.
Grip.
For better
Yeah.
grip.
Yeah.
For a better grip. Yeah, you get batting gloves, and that's fine. But sometimes, you're sweating through those batting gloves. I wore batting gloves before. You sweat through them.
I know.
Your hands sweat in 90-degree weather. So I understand what everybody's saying, but I just think that I think that MLB, and this is my personal opinion, and I agree with some of the sports people out there, including the women only, I think that they overreacted. I think they overreacted. And by the overreaction, somebody's either going to get hurt. A pitcher just got hurt. Who was the pitcher that just got hurt? Who says that if he had the rosin on his hands, he wouldn't have gotten hurt? Now, who's going to prove that? Who knows? But somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to be beamed in the head because the ball's slipping out of somebody's hand. I just think it's more dangerous than not dangerous. But again, that's my personal opinion. I think MLB overreacted. I think they should bring back those two substances, and then the other substances, the really, really sticky substances, should not be allowed. And I understand. I'm kind of going both ways on it, but that's just how I feel.
It's a tough one, like we talked about. It's a tough one. I could see both sides of it, like I said, and it'll be very interesting to see how this debate evolves as more the season sort of goes along more with, and if guys actually start to get punished by this, just sort of what happens.
This is going to hurt, Robbie, because people and nobody's going to use it, so you're going to see the game change.
Yeah.
You're going to see pitchers not pitch.
Look at
you're going to see great pitchers.
Look at last night's Red Sox
get killed.
game. I mean, look at last night's Red Sox game. The pitching was certainly less than stellar in that one.
That's correct, and he didn't throw his best pitch.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, again,
I'm confident.
I kind of have to sort of take a wait and see approach on it. I feel like.
Yeah.
So.
I know. I totally agree with it. But I knew this was kind of in your wheelhouse, so to speak. So it's one of those things where I know it just happened, and I just, I'm not for cheating. I am for
right.
I am for traditional gameplay. I guess that's what you could say. Traditional gameplay, whatever that may be.
We both agree that you and I are both, purists, to the highest degree. So
yes, Carl Yastrzemski didn't use batting gloves or pine tar. Old school. That's great.
Neither did Ted Williams. Ted Williams didn't even use a batting helmet. Ted Williams didn't even have a batting helmet. Yeah.
Exactly. So I just think there was a major overreaction, and we're gonna see things happen now and in the future that are not going to. So I'm hoping that nobody gets seriously injured, that pitchers don't start going down because they're so used to pitching a certain way, and now they can't pitch that way. They can, but they don't have control. It's going to be like, the pitcher from Major League. Emilio Estevez's brother. It's
Vaughn.
Yeah,
Well, no,
yeah, Vaughn. Vaughn is his name.
Charlie
Yeah.
Sheen. Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
Charlie
Sheen.
Sheen's character on Major League starts out, the reason he was pitching, he's pitching 101 miles an hour, but he was throwing it 5 feet, 20 feet high. He's doing that because he needed glasses. But still, I mean, I understand, I get it, but I just think things are going to start happening that are going to go really wrong. And I think it's going to eventually start hurting the game. That's what I'm more nervous about, it actually hurting me. Just my thought.
Yeah.
I don't like the damn shootout either, but that's a subject for another time.
That's another rant.
That's my rant. That's my rant stuff. But yeah, Robbie already did his ranting for tonight. I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he's got another rant in. But anyway, we're at the time.
I'm good.
Yeah, he's good. We're at the time. We're at the time right now where we do our final thoughts for the evening. So, Robbie, what is your final thought for the evening? I'm very, very curious about this because sometimes you tell me what your final thought is, and now I have no idea what it is. So final thoughts.
So here's the intriguing thing about my final thought is that my final thought tonight is not actually sports related. I know, shocking.
Whoa.
No, but
you do that? Is that legal?
Yes, it is.
Technical.
I'm making a legal objection.
Objection. You're out. You're out of here, buddy.
Muted. Yeah. No, but I think it's nonetheless important. So for those of you who don't know, when I'm not, co-hosting this glorious show, the Sports Blitz, my full-time job is in the education industry. I work for a public school system. And today was the last day of school for said public school system. And, sort of this week has been the end of school for all the schools across the state. And what I wanted to do tonight was actually give a shout out to all the education professionals, out there, whether, in this state and also just around this country, because let's face it, folks, and Doug kind of knows about this life because Doug has also been involved in, public school systems as an employee and as a parent and and obviously back in the day as a student, in school. Doug did go to school, shockingly. But Doug's not actually listening to me at the moment. Doug actually doesn't listen to my final thoughts. Doug just,
I'm sorry, are you talking right now?
But no, I think it's this school year was definitely a school year, and last year as well, but this school year was sort of a school year like no other. With all different types of learning going on, whether it was hybrid or remote or in person, but with masks and distancing and blah 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 and all sanitization and all this stuff. And I just want to give a shout out to all the teachers and staff members and administration members out there, just whatever your position is. The fact that you were able to sort of navigate what was an extremely challenging and unprecedented school year, and just the hard work that I witnessed, again, going to work each day and seeing the hard work of everyone, from the principals to the teachers to the custodians to everybody, to make sure that the kids had the best educational experience possible despite all that's going on in this world, in this country of COVID and everything else. Like I said, I know this is not sports related, but sometimes there are things that are more important than sports that you just have to kind of stop for a second and shout out. And to me tonight, it is all the people involved in education in this great state, in this great country, for, really helping the students and for themselves getting through just what was an unprecedented year. And just my sincerest respect and kudos and everything to all of you out there, and big shout out to my coworkers as well. You guys are all the best, and there's not enough good things I could say about all of you. So I just wanted to take a moment in my final thoughts here tonight to shout out all those people that made what was an unprecedented school year a very successful school year as well. So that's what I got, Doug. Back over to you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, these educators are super important, whether you're on a Zoom or you're in the classroom, spreading your kids out. It's just been a difficult year, and I totally agree with that. So a shout out to all of them who have helped our kids out this year and this last year and a half, which has been very difficult. But of course, getting back, I have two, as I usually do. My first one is not really, I can't really say it's sad news, but don't really know why this happened. But it turns out that Vince Wilfork's son was charged with stealing $300,000 worth of his dad's jewelry, including New England Patriots Super Bowl rings. And I think that there was also, if I remember correctly, AFC Championship rings, a 2001 Miami Hurricanes National Championship ring, among necklaces, bracelets, earrings, all that kind of stuff. $300,000, it's a lot. Again, Vince just losing his dad to diabetes this past year. And now he's 39 years old, and now he's got to deal with his son who took a whole bunch of his stuff and actually tried to sell it. It turns out that he got all the rings back, which is great. But there's some other stuff that may come back. But just Vince Wilfork, just a class act. Raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for diabetes-related causes over the years. A strong supporter of charities that promote education and health for children. Just done a phenomenal job with raising tons and tons of money for kids and for people with diabetes, and to have this unfortunate incident happen to him is we at the Sports Blitz obviously, we feel for him, and hopefully everything will be resolved. And but that's just a bad thing, just terrible. And hopefully his son can get some help if that's and stuff like that. But so we start with that, and then we end on a good note. I think what Robbie said is very appropriate. I want to have a shout out, which I haven't done yet, to my daughter who graduated high school, and did a relatively normal senior week, which is great. And
where, Doug, where is she going off of school next year?
I think I'm not. I don't want to mention that right now.
Sorry,
just because of where we're pretty set on where we're going. I just want to kind of keep that on the down low. On the down low on that. But it's one of those things where the teachers, the guidance counselors, everybody has been absolutely super in trying to get them to get these kids to have a relatively normal kind of situation what was great was she's in 2 a cappella groups. And she actually had an a cappella night last Thursday after she graduated. And a few kids came back that were seniors, including her. They were actually able to sing in person at an a cappella night, 6 feet apart with the mask on, because it was at the middle school. And we were able to enjoy that as kind of a last hurrah, which is really great. They've done such a phenomenal, the teachers have done just a phenomenal job in the last year and a half, just to try to keep it as normal as possible, which is almost impossible during a pandemic. But everybody's done so well. And I just congratulate the class of 2021. We also have a whole bunch of other people that up in New Hampshire and some people in Massachusetts, and of course, Alana and her classmates that are graduating this year. So we're very, very excited to
Way to go.
go to the
Way
next adventure. And yeah, so congratulations to everybody there. So that's all we got for the Sports Blitz for this week. We are everywhere now. We are on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on SoundCloud. You like to listen instead of hear, and look at us. I mean, I would listen to us. But we are.
By the way,
what else? Oh, Twitter too.
Quick update. Tampa Bay and the Islanders are currently tied in 1 late in the second period. So
okay, excellent. Thanks for the update there. We're on Twitter too, so we are everywhere. So catch our next episode. We got some great episodes coming up. We're trying to formulate some guests that we're going to have on fairly soon. Looks like we might do a Rivers episode down the road, so that would be fun. And just look for us down the road. Hey, there's going to be a new podcast too, so I could throw it out there too. A very new podcast that I'm actually going to do with a friend of the Sports Blitz. Kyle and I are getting together, and we're going to do a podcast called Marvel at the Movies.
Yeah,
and we're very excited about this podcast. Look for it coming up in the next, I would say, few weeks or so. We're still trying to develop concepts and trying to get things going. But I'm sure Robbie will be our first guest as we've come a full circle with everybody.
I better be.
With everybody.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. That's right. I know. We got to be careful of that. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. Join us next time.
Like and subscribe. Like and
subscribe. Please watch until the end. You got like and subscribe. And please hit the bell, because you're going to get those notifications right away when we get a new episode out. So I'm Doug. That's Robbie. Actually, he's over there. I always get mixed up. He's not that way.
Right here.
He's that
Hi.
way.
Hi.
Yeah, that's Robbie. Hey. For Doug and Robbie, this is the Sports Blitz. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.